right? So right now, obviously, PulseChain isn't extremely liquid, but when the bull comes and we get lots of liquidity, you'll start to see these deposits, perhaps reach the 8 figures at some point. And people are paying 3% to borrow Hex or something like this, or to borrow stablecoin. And 3% on 8 figures, it's pretty decent, right? Especially for a stablecoin. Just for being a depositor, right? Now, the only truly single-sided staking that you can do right now with PulseX would be on Fiat. Obviously, it's not a gigantic rate, but it is literally the only place where you could get pure single-sided staking. So, people.
How does that work? Like when people say, "What do you mean single-sided staking with Fiat?" Like how is that similar to what we want on, or what a lot of people want, at least on PulseX?
Yeah. So what people are looking for on PulseX is they lock up their PulseX coins, right? And then they get something for free, and they don't have to do any work. They don't have to have any sort of impermanent loss. They're literally just taking their tokens, time locking them, and they're getting something for free, right? On Fiat, much like how a bank works, if you deposit your dollars or something into a savings account or a CD, you get a deposit rate. Okay. On Fiat, like same thing with the bank. You deposit on Fiat. You're being paid by the borrowers to deposit your assets so that they can borrow them. So they're paying you back, right? The money is coming from the depositors, or I'm sorry, from the borrowers, just like at a bank. So, but yes.
So to just connect the parallel, so on PulseX, you would put your PulseX there, you would stake it, you would earn some other token, community token, however that's going to work or will work when it happens. And on Fiat, again, just to make it clear, you can put down PulseX, you can put down other coins, and then you earn. You clarify that?
Yeah, so you would literally just get the coins that you've deposited, right? So let's go to my dashboard. I think I have a couple loans. So I've got Pulse and DAI as deposits right now, right? And I borrowed some Hex. Now I'm making 1.38% on my DAI, right? Last week I was making 20% on my DAI. Somebody was really borrowing a lot of DAI the other day, and so it's obviously variable, right? Depends on use. Okay, more use, more you pay. Okay. And then with Pulse, the other day it was maybe 1%. Okay. So somebody's obviously paid back some other loans. They've consolidated their debt, whatever they're doing, right? It's just the market. Okay. But yeah, so these deposits that I have up here, I get more of those tokens because people are borrowing Pulse, people are borrowing DAI. So naturally, I'm going to be paid to be a depositor. Okay. So that's kind of how that works. Right. And you can see that I've borrowed some Hex. So I'm currently paying the people that have deposited Hex, I'm paying them some interest for borrowing this Hex here. These loans are, they slowly grow over time. Right. So it's not like there's a payment plan or, a period. It's basically based on your collateral versus your debt, right? So once it gets to an unsafe level, it'll start your assets will be put up for liquidation, and a liquidator, which anybody can run a liquidation bot, will take your coins and start using your collaterals to buy back your debt on the market and pay off your loans. Okay. And it'll do that in little chunks until either you have reached a safe health factor, which is how we calculate your collateral versus your debt, or until you're liquidated, right? So one of those two things, and it'll happen relatively quick. Okay. But yeah, so
well, I just want to say on the deposit side, so for this to get back the Pulse or the DAI that you deposited, earning the APY on, you would just withdraw, and then they would just come back into your total, or how do you get the coins back that you've earned, I guess?
Yeah, so you just withdraw, right? And basically, you can see my balance is just growing ever so slowly, right? You see the number ticking up there. So I withdraw my coins. I should have like a very small, decimal place, more Pulse than I did when I deposited, right? Just naturally, because people are borrowing the coins and their debt is growing. So my deposit is also growing. Okay. Now, in this case, you might ask, okay, well, what if they never pay back their loans? Okay, well, that's a great question. They never pay back their loans. There could be a situation where people could withdraw a bunch of coins, and then it would be just left where they owe the platform this amount of coins. Okay, and then they will be charged out the ass on interest. Okay, until it catches up to their collateral once again, or until the price goes back down, and then their collateral is sold to pay their loan off from the spot market. Right. So those two things would have to happen for you to get the rest of those deposits out. So
that's what's going to ask the risk as far as like depositing stuff. You're earning the APY. It's way different than the borrowing. All right, borrowing you get liquidated. The deposit side where you're earning the APY, the risk is, I mean,
it's contract risk, right? So if there was a bug in the Aave code or something that the audit that we've done on Phiat that wasn't caught or something like that, then yeah, there's contract risk, right? There's risk that all the shit goes to zero, right? Like, that's a risk. If you're borrowing, yes, you're open to, if you're not borrowing responsibly, if you're using, you're borrowing your max and everything out, yeah, of course, you're going to be exposed to liquidations a lot easier than somebody that's borrowing responsibly, of course. But yeah, generally speaking, if you're a depositor, you're basically thinking about contract risk, or let's say you have a bridge stable coin, okay, and then the bridge goes down, okay, and you're deposited here, so obviously, that causes an issue for the platform if the bridge were to go down and the stable coins were to implode, right?